We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome to another episode of the Parents' Lounge. It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan.
Hello.
Hello. It's Parental Mental Health Tuesday, so we might let some people join in tonight. And I think
I have posted the link for you, sir.
Carlos Alazraki coming by, I believe. Kate Mulligan will be here in a bit. It makes me laugh. Maureen O'Malley's already like, hey, it's been snowing here in Salt Lake City since last night, so I am tired of living in a snow globe. Yeah, I'm, it'll warm up eventually, I guess. But welcome, everybody. I think the main crux of I haven't been here in a few weeks. I was working. I shot.
You've been doing that job business.
I've been doing some hosting. We'll talk about that a little bit. It is currently spring break for some. Ours starts this weekend. We'll talk. I love when people are like, "Oh, that's going to be fun. What are you doing for your vacation for spring break?" And I go, "I'm working it. I'm working spring break. My two kids are going to have the greatest vacation of all time. We are going skiing in Colorado, and they're going to have a fantastic time. I'm going to be a driver, chef, disciplinarian, janitor, probably a lot of janitoring,
bouncer, maybe a bouncer.
I'll be a bouncer. I will be a screamer. I'm trying not to scream anymore.
Are you a go-to screamer?
It sneaks up on me. I'm like, it's like that. Okay, okay, guys, we're gonna, please, everyone. And then all of a sudden something snaps and I'm like, and then they behave. And so I'm like, well, now I've been trained to kind of scream, but I'm really trying not to scream at all.
I don't like to do it, but sometimes it does end up being the only recourse I have.
Yeah.
With Jace in particular, it works. The twins.
We just had, hey, who is that guy? Says Narcolepsy. I'm back, baby.
Joey's right. It's like a volcano.
It's like a volcano. Oh, dude, it's like a volcano where people go, people say, oh, it's simmering for 300 years, and then all of a sudden it blows out of nowhere. Like Mount St. Helens or whatever. I just had so my kids, I was not going to let them watch TV, but I was cooking dinner. I said, listen, if you do a 10-minute blitz and you clean the house, pick up your toys, pick up all your stuff, I'll let you watch TV. Because tomorrow is their last day it's like a half day. It's the last day before spring break. So it's basically already started. And so for the last week, they had, Hannah had a sleepover. And so she had taken Claire's claw machine. She has one of those little toy claw machines.
Oh, the toy ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about. And a ton of stuffies. And she left them out for 5 days, right? Just kept saying. And so 3 days ago, I took it and got rid of it. I kept saying, if you don't pick it up, I'm going to get rid of it. And all of a sudden it dawned on her because she went to go pick it up like a week later. And she's like, where is that? And I said, it's gone. I got rid of it. And like, they were like, and poor Claire, it was Claire's, but Hannah was using it. And so where do you lie on that? Because I got rid of it.
That's a tough one because it wasn't technically Hannah's.
I know. What do you, but, and then so Claire was like losing it. And I said, well, you shouldn't have let Claire, this is a terrible thing to say, but I guess you shouldn't let Hannah use it because Hannah does that.
I mean, I guess there's an important lesson there. I'm not sure I could pull on the trigger on it if it was like, if Jace borrowed something of the twins. Like, I don't know if I could pull the trigger. You're tougher than me, though.
I didn't throw it out. It's hidden. It's totally.
Oh, okay.
It'll come back.
I feel better. It gave me anxiety.
It again. Yeah, I don't want to rebuy it, but I was like, I get so like, dude. Here's why I blow up because I go. Here's the worst thing of parenting. Everyone's like, and so a lot of times I'm like, if this isn't something you can live with, then you should not be a parent. I am sick of saying the same thing 100 times. So I'll say it 100 times, and then finally, I just absolutely put my fist through a wall. Like I will absolutely melt where I can see the utter, when they grow up, they're going to go, when my father did blow, he blew hard. Like, I'm punching Restoration Hardware lamps. I'm losing my absolute mind, but I've been pushed. I mean, how do I say it another 1,000 times and not explode? What is the answer? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Like, you've got to get your point across. I mean, you absolutely have to get your point across. So I support you on that. I totally agree.
Well, you know who we should really ask? We should really ask, what if we asked, who would be, who's really good, who knows these kinds of things? Billy Crystal. Like Billy Crystal feels like the right dad, right? He's like the perfect dad. So I think we should ask Billy Crystal about how many times we should have to say something to our kids before we blow up, right? So let's bring him in, shall we? We have Billy Crystal on tonight's show. Hey, yes, Billy.
Yes, hi. How are you? Good to see you. Here, let me straighten the camera. There it is. No, the other way.
Okay, listen, we're huge fans. We just really appreciate you coming on to the show and doing stuff. So I'm having problems with my children because I don't want to say the same things 1,000 times. So finally, after I like repeat myself 100 times, I lose my mind and basically like just smash things. I've broken things, whipped crates across the room. Like I've absolutely lost my mind. And then they do exactly what I tell them to do. So, I mean, it works. So am I wrong or am I right?
Have you tried coming into the room stark naked with a hatchet? That's all I'm saying. I'm not recommending it. I'm asking if you've tried it. It could work. It could be a thing. But the other thing you can do is
first of all, I'm a redhead. So there's a reason there's not a lot of redheaded dudes in porn. It's not a great look. I wouldn't need, what I'm saying is I wouldn't need the hatchet. Just redheaded me, nude, freckles, a lot of, it's not great.
And enraged. There's an Alexa. You could program an endless loop of Alexa screaming all the time. Do it, do it, do it. That way you rest your voice. You're continuing to scream 24/7. You're happy. You're rested. You're getting your message across because you said it works. Let Alexa help you with this, Jamie. Program it to run on a loop 24/7. You rest, you watch the ball game, have a good time, go to the bar, have a sip of whiskey. The kids are going to get it done. Don't worry.
Well, it's funny you talk about that, Billy, because our other esteemed host, Mr. Jason Gowan, has basically created a alternate hymn. Do you want to talk about that, Jason? Because we talked about this exact thing recently where we were like, you could just set it to be triggered when the kids. Tell Billy about it. And by the way,
Billy, I have been working with an AI company who after the tragedy that happened with my wife and me, there is now a virtual me that can talk to my kids. We talked to them on the plane today.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. I hope you gave him the middle seat, didn't you?
I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to sit there. I want the window.
There you go. That way you got a gap between you because you have a virtual passenger. I have a ticket for my AI.
Yep. And I also get his snack.
There you go. Extra pretzels, always good. You do. You need the extra AI. The AI gets to be the bad guy. The dad gets to be the good guy. The mom gets to be the good girl. Everybody's happy. I like the AI.
You could bring the AI as like a service animal, where it's like I'm only comforted if I'm with myself.
That's right. That's
I
right.
actually
You're
find that I've
emotional
been
AI.
talking to myself quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because you're the most interesting person in the world. Why wouldn't you want to talk to yourself? And you listen to yourself. It's beautiful. It's a win-win.
It is delightful. I always feel better when Billy's here.
He's the best.
I try to make it right. Listen, Paul George went down. The Clippers probably going to tank in the playoffs. I'm used to disgrace and failure and disappointment. So you can always talk to me because I'm a professional at disappointment. I'm a Clippers fan.
You've made a healthy living on disappointment, my friend.
I really have. I really have. I used to be Mr. Saturday night. Now I'm Sunday mid-afternoon. It's getting late in my career.
Mr. Sunday brunch.
Mr. Sunday brunch. And it's a gospel brunch. Oh, yes. At the house of Pretty Blue.
Well, Billy's today's main topic is about spring break. Because a lot of kids we know are on spring break this week. A lot of parents are dealing with it. And I'm starting next week.
Oh, boy.
And so we have, of course, put together an elaborate trip of like skiing. There's already lift tickets and ski lessons and car rentals and hotels. And you know, my wife was like, hey, are you ready for our vacation? I was like, there's no vacation. Listen, I'm going to try to have as much fun as possible, but this is going to be a full-time job. I have to mentally prepare for it.
It is a full-time job of building memories for your kids that they won't be thankful for when they grow up.
No true words have been spoken. They will. Look, I'll be long dead, and they'll be like, I can see them having like a glass of Chardonnay, like 50 years from now, talking to each other and go, Dad did his best making sure we had a good childhood, didn't he?
You're going to be as remembered as the wedding planner when it's all said and done. You're going to do all the work and get none of the credit. Welcome to parenthood, my friend.
The wedding planner gets paid, dude. That's a paid job. I'm paying for their vacation.
There's always the lodge. You can always fake an injury. Oh, Daddy's got to go to the infirmary. I think I twisted my ankle. I'll be right back in about 3 hours. Dude, get the swelling to go down.
I don't have to fake an injury. I have a herniated disc in my back. And my wife's like, hey, we're going skiing. I go, I'm not really. You know what? I don't know about. I haven't skied in 10 years. I feel like. You know what? Billy has to go. Billy, thank you so much for joining us. But our pal Carlos Alazraqui from Reno 911 is here to join us. And every cartoon that has...
Hey, Carlos, how are you, my friend?
I don't know why Billy was wearing the glasses and I'm not. I have no idea.
He's way older than you.
I'm doing well.
He's way older.
So Burbank experienced its spring break. I got a little small part in New Mexico during the Burbank school spring break, so I missed it. But we just hodgepodge sleepovers, parties. There wasn't one definitive trip, but I was remiss because I did miss a ski trip with my kids. And I usually go. Here's what you do: you plan it with another family, so there are other adults that you can interact with, if possible. That assuages all the exhaustion that you have of just spending your entire energy and time with your family. We literally bring adult beverages, and the kids were at the swimming pool that we stayed at this place in June Mountain. And while they're swimming, we enjoyed a little adult beverage, took it into the hot tub there, and it was fine. And then when they went to sleep, we went back and took a little spa, did it right. It was nice. It was good. So you go with another family. That's the way I would do it if you can.
We actually lucked out. Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
I am totally down for that. Jason, what you're going to say? I think he's absolutely onto something because I have preached this for so long of like 3 or 4 families. We get 2 or, giant Airbnb. And then, you can shoot off and leave your kids.
You can satellite it and you can rotate out. It takes a village to run a spring vacation. It really does. I love doing it that way. There's something that my buddy Matt Craig and I do. He's local here in Burbank, producer, writer, director, amazing improv guy. And he and his kids, when we go give the moms a break for Mother's Day weekend, Matt and I will take our 2 kids and go somewhere, a hotel, a beach, or whatever for the weekend. And it gives the moms a break. And since we're dual parenting, kind of helps. We help out each other. We cover for each other. So I like multi-family vacations, provided you get along with those families, because
could go south if you didn't.
Yeah,
we lucked out that
We get along
watch-
really well. We have. Now, I will say, with my kids' school, the parents, I don't know if I've met one that I didn't care for. Like, I'm probably the jerk at the school. Like, everybody is awesome. So
I can see that.
every time we went. Oh my gosh, we went to go. The kids had a spring concert last Friday, and I was miserable. I had just worked. I was doing the voiceover thing all day, and then so I stumble in. My wife's out of town. I drag Hannah there, and it was like 20 minutes before, and all of a sudden I look over in the parking lot, all the other parents are tailgating. They're like, they have coolers open, they have crew today plates, they have wine and beer. I just went walking over, they go, come this way, Jamie. And then some wine, I was like, oh, this is why I love this school. I love the other parents. Yeah, they're super
That's
great.
awesome. And Jason, you say you lucked out because you went with another family and it was
No, we had so many snow days here this year that it ate up the entire spring break. So we didn't have to have one.
Wow, that's an act of God. God is on your side. God is watching. You know what we did? My wife and I, with another couple, we went to St. Finbar's on bingo night and we dressed up in thrift store clothing like old people just for fun. And it was intense and fun. And we want to go back to St. Finbar's to play bingo.
I would go in a heartbeat.
That does sound awesome.
When my mom was like in her 90s in Florida, I would go. And you have the little marker that's just a dot.
Yeah, the little splooger thing.
And I ended up winning bingo at my mom's thing in Florida. And I was like, bingo! Yeah. I danced around the room. And
I needed that for my medicine. That money was going to be for my medicine. Sucking lady, I won.
That's super funny, dude. I would totally go to bingo. Like, were people super old there?
No, it was a mixture. It wasn't like the super blue hairs. Everybody was coming, and ladies brought their own coup d'etat plates and crackers because they sell the like chips. I think pizza went like that. They sell soda, but you can bring your own food. You can really do it up.
You got to text me. I'll go to that in a heartbeat.
It is so fun.
Awesome.
It is so fun. And you know what? It harkens back to an old sort of activity that is still around, right? It's nothing fancy. You're not online. It's done by computer now. They're not rolling balls anymore. But you're marking each card. You're paying attention. So there's not that much conversation during the playing. But in between games, you're like, how did that son of a bitch win it? I had four. I almost made the L. You make an L, you make an H, you make an X, you do blackout. It's awesome. You got to concentrate, man. You can't mess around. Because we thought maybe we'll take like a little gummy, little sip of hooch or something. It's like, no, you can't. You got to be focused, man.
You got to be focused because they were on it like that. Like the girl would go like 14 bingo.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? You've only called out 3 numbers.
I mean, some of those folks out there, that's what they live for is the bingo. So
that's their income. I believe that's how they survive.
There's a whole documentary.
Carlos, I have to ask you, I keep seeing, dude, it makes me smile so much. You travel a lot because I think most people who watch this show know, but you are a huge voiceover guy.
Yeah.
Rocco and everybody. And you're doing all these Comic-Cons, and I can see all the pictures that all the fans post taking pics with you. And it must be kind of cool. I mean, all the traveling and stuff to go out and meet everybody.
Well, as a traveling stand-up comedian, it's actually the inversion of how life is on the road as a stand-up. As a stand-up on the road, as you know, Jamie, you check in the night before because you got to do radio early in the morning. So you might see the club owner for a few hours doing radio. Then every other day, if there's not a cool feature act, you're by yourself for 20 hours, basically, trying to kill time, trying to be creative, trying to walk, see a movie, whatever. And you're pretty much all alone until you meet strangers who quickly say, great show. Can I buy you a drink? And you're like, no, I'll just go back to the hotel room myself. Yeah. The cons are the inversion of that you show up, there's other actors there, you go out to dinner, and during the day, you're around people that think you're fantastic, and they're wonderful. A lot of them are on the spectrum. A lot of them have autism. They're very sincere. You're getting all kinds of love all day. And then at night, you can go and hang out with your friends. So you're around people the whole time. So I really love it as opposed to the lifestyle of a road comic. It's a lot less lonely and a lot more fulfilling because the fans are really sincere, because if they know you from voiceover, that means they're really following you, right?
Yeah.
They're not just like, you're Dangle from Reno 911. No, I don't wear the shorts. That's Tom Lennon. They're not
That's
casual.
funny.
They know everything about you, which happens quite a bit, by the way. But
It must be odd to see because, gosh, I hosted this wine event this weekend, and it was, dude, if that could be a permanent job, like hosting wine events, I'm down. It was super fun. Our friends at 16600 who have sponsored this show many times and sent wine all of our ways. So I went up and it was this crazy event with like, I didn't understand. These guys are like physics nerds, man. They are like mathematicians. They're viticulturists. They all have crazy degrees. And so they brought me up to said, hey, could you add some humor to this thing? Because it was super informational and dry. And I was kind of the funny guy and stuff. But hanging out with those cats, dude, I was like, they were talking. One woman asked a question that made me really think about everything that we do. And she was like, what are you hoping for when you're putting all this stuff together? And they were trying to do the math. And then finally I kind of spoke up and was like, they're artists, man.
Yeah.
Same as voiceover, right? These guys are taking a grape that anybody on earth can take, and they are creating something from it that brings great joy and artistic endeavor to people. And some of this stuff was just like so great. And these guys are like, it's all about the soil and the air, like everything's involved because it's snow. I didn't understand. I went up to this crazy. It's basically was a volcano a long time ago, and so all the soil is volcanic.
So they got
soil.
great ash and soil.
It was crazy. And then the water is so close that the mist comes up, so it gets 90 degrees in the day, and then at night it goes down to the 30s as the moisture comes over the top. And so I learned all this stuff about the topography of the land and all this stuff.
Ooh, that's
and
good.
Listening to these guys talk was the same way I would listen to somebody who's like writing a book or it's
novel.
An art form. And so to do like, people go like, voiceover, but you're really bringing these characters to life, man, off of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it must be really rewarding to have these fans come up and go, dude,
they dress up as them.
They do. There's a lot of cosplay. I want to digress and say that there was a great 30 for 30 that Drew Bledsoe, after what he went through of Tom Brady taking over his career, decided to get into winemaking and is really one of the top wine sellers in the world. He had all that knowledge of reading playbooks and the details. He's like, you know what? My wife and I love wine. We're gonna buy a vineyard, and he's done quite well. But voiceover it's a different recognition than stand-up is. People can love your bits in stand-up, but when they relate to a character, and the strangest one to me was Spyro the Dragon, right? The original Spyro on PS1, because there was Jess Harnell, Elijah Wood, and Tom Kenny. But I was the original Spyro. It's like in 1994, and he's like, watch out for Nasty Nork. Just kind of this nothing game. But people will come up to you and say, hey, that helped me out of a tough time. I was in the hospital coming out of a coma, and I was playing that game every day. And you're like, oh my, I had no idea. Well, you're welcome. I was just doing a voice. And I never understood how people were so excited about an animated character or a video game character. And one day, I think I've told the story. I'm in Salami Studios. I'm talking to D. Bradley Baker, who's amazing, and Fred Tatasciore, who I know, amazing. But they're my friends. And I said, I only play one game, Left 4 Dead 2. And D goes, I'm the Spitter and the Joker. And I'm like, and Fred goes, I'm Boomer. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I started fanboying out. And I went, oh, now I understand. I've spent hours, hundreds of hours with this game, never realizing that it was people that I knew that were giving life to these characters. And I got so excited. So that made me understand and accept the fact that, if people want to go crazy for your characters, I kind of get it. And I'm lucky enough to, I provide a voice, but it's really the full effort of everybody that will extrapolate and make the characters more dissimilar than they really are. And I do this thing where I went, Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, he's right here. Spyro is pretty much in the same area. And then there's Laszlo from Camp Laszlo. Hey, Scoutmaster Lumpus. They're pretty much all right in the same neighborhood, but because they're so drawn differently and written differently, it leads you to believe that there's three really disparate characters, when in reality, they're pretty much living in the same house.
That's so funny.
But it's just little tweaks that people like, and all credit to the writers and the creators that help you, and the artists and the animators that help you really breathe the full life into those characters. But it's our job to at least start them off on the right pace and
accentuate the differences between Rocco and Laszlo and between Spyro. There are subtle differences.
We've
See, you're
talked
able to
enough
do
now where sometimes I'll be able to pick you out of a
Yeah.
show. Like I'm like, oh hey, wait, that like Monsters at Work, I picked you out right away.
Yeah.
So because my son was watching, I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I just did some looping for a guy named Jason today. He's like, hey, whatever. Yeah, my lunchbox has got a J on it. But it's it's our job, and we all do characters, right? You do some in stand-up. If you're, how does your wife impersonate you? My wife might go, oh, well, I forgot to bring out the dog bags today for the dog poop thing. It's like, that's not how I talk, but you're doing a character. If you imitate your wife, my wife every day, she's like, what are you doing with the trash? Where are you going? You're doing characters. We all do it. And I'm so lucky that I think like Tom Kenny's SpongeBob, of course, and he was a great stand-up, and along with Bobcat Goldthwait. But it was always a means to an end for Tom. He wanted to have stand-up lead to other things. And as soon as he got the voiceover stuff, he's like, nah, I'm leaving stand-up behind. And I still like to dabble in both. And I'll have a gig coming up in Paso Robles. They put us up at a winery, and it's going to be downtown. It's going to be weird because I haven't done stand-up in a long time. So,
dude, why aren't I not involved in that gig? I got to get on. I got to get on that.
You should come and do a guest set because like the featured act is not getting paid that much. So I wasn't gonna really, offer it unless somebody really wanted to do it. And I did offer it to a local boy, Santa Paula, Tom McLean, my buddy, XL Comic on Instagram. Tom's a 49er fan. We've been friends for a long time. And so he's like, yeah, man, I'll come and hang out. So, but yeah.
I did Paso Robles last year with those guys. It's super fun. I love Paso Robles, man. Really fun.
Paso Robles.
I'm actually doing Dallas. I'm doing TK's place in Dallas.
Good.
Father's Day weekend.
And I want to go back. I'm glad that you found that niche thing that you like, which is hosting those wine type of shows. And you're great at hosting. You host everything.
Yeah, he is really
and that's your genre. And
dude, I poo-pooed it so many years. When I first was at Acme and I was doing sketches, people would approach me about hosting shows all the time. And I'd be like, I'm not going to host. I'm an actor. And then I hosted a handful of things like America's Facts versus Fiction or Haunted Live, where I ended up doing Robot Chicken and doing voiceover stuff. And I was like, what was I thinking about? This is the greatest job on earth, man.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say the character stuff because I have a Spectrum commercial where I'm the voice of the laptop. And people know me right out of the chute. People typically go, I heard you before I saw you. Because I'm not a character guy. I typically play myself, like a version of myself. So people immediately recognize my voice, which can be good, but it's also, I have my range is very limited.
Yeah. You don't steal from other people as well as I do. I used to do this character, JJ Hightail, for Direct Auto Insurance, race car driver based in Nashville, Tennessee. So they were regional, but I had a nice campaign going. As JJ Hightail for Direct Auto Insurance. And I get a call from Henry Cho. He's like, hey, Carlos, man, my friends are telling me you're doing my voice for this JJ Hightail. I said, you goddamn right I am. He's supposed to be from Tennessee. So I said, I'm going to do my buddy Henry Cho. I just directly lifted his voice for that character.
And he knew it.
Well, yeah, he knew it. He was like, man, I watched that thing, man. You're doing me in a fun kind of way. He wasn't upset. I was like, hell yeah, I'm doing you.
I think we all do that though, man.
Yeah.
Every time I do crazy voice, it's like, it turns out someone goes, isn't that George Kennedy from the Cool Hand Luke? And you're like, oh, my boy can eat 50 egg. And you're like, oh, actually I am doing George Kennedy from that. Yeah.
That's how we do, man. That's how we do. So, it's like, what do we want to do? What are our goals? Where are we going to end up? I really rarely plan that. And, somebody was talking about this, like, maybe I should start doing that. What is it I really love to do? And right now, the thing I really love to do the most is the voiceover. And when I can, go to cons. I don't like traveling away from the family and the kids that much. Wow. So I don't do a lot of them, but I do enjoy voiceover. It's just it's a fun way to make a living. It's a hell of a lot easier than being alone on the road and being a road comic, for sure. Or even going down to the improv.
To play?
Pardon me?
Who's your favorite character to play?
It's relative, right? Rocco is my first. He'll always be my first girlfriend, the special one. And I love him because he's so subtle. Crocker's out of his mind. Timmy Turner, please. But now I have one. If seasons expand on Exploding Kitten called Chorgle, and he's just basically a version of Ed Orgeron, who used to be the LSU football coach. And he
I know
like
exactly who he is. That's so funny.
They asked me to come up with a voice, and I said, well, I know this guy named Ed Orgeron that's in love LSU football because he's supposed to be an animatronic rat from the Bayou. And I'm like, I got to do Ed Orgeron. So that's one of my favorite new ones right there.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so spot on. That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, so that's those are some fun ones. And there's a guy named Vito Filipponio on the Casa Grandes who's kind of a mooch. He just kind of hangs out in the store and he's like, hey, Hector, if you're not going to finish that burrito, maybe I can take it home with me. He's like the guy from Diner that wants the mooch of Modell.
It's Paul Reiser, man.
Paul Reiser. No, because if you're not going to eat the sandwich, maybe, so you can give me some of the sandwich. I'll take that.
Listen, if you want the other half of the sandwich, just ask for it.
No, I don't want to ask for it because it's your sandwich. Because why would I ask for it?
If you want it, just ask for it.
I'm not going to ask for it because, I want you to finish it. But if you don't finish it, I'll take it.
Dude, nobody on earth is going to get that. But that is, oh, my God. And then later he goes, hey, when you go home, are you going via the back? He goes, do you need a ride home? No, I don't need a ride home. But what I'm saying is if you were going that way, I would go. We used to do that all the time.
Yeah, just ask for a ride home, Modell.
How many people have seen Diner? It's one of it might be Barry Levinson's first or second film.
It's wonderful. Alan Arkin.
I think
Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke
was a huge, made him a star.
Right after Pope of Greenwich Village.
Daniel Stern.
Wonderful.
It's really great. You know what? Here's what's funny. And so here's what's funny about that. Because I saw a movie recently because we're still dealing with everyone says their kids don't even watch TV anymore. They're just they're scrolling TikTok videos. They just want increments. Even like sports, they were talking about nobody watches the game anymore. They go, why would I watch the game, dude? I'll watch the last 90 seconds on a clip. I don't to us, we're like, for us, the enjoyment is it's the same way I would go, Dad, why are you sitting out on the watching the lawn?
Yeah.
But that was his enjoyment, the same way we like watching the whole thing. But the kids today don't do it because Diner is really the whole premise of the movie is a bunch of dudes sit around in a diner talking about
their lives. God, sometimes my wife and I, we sit each other or look at each other for hours and we just have nothing to say. So you're saying marriage is good? Oh yeah, it's great. I tell you though,
Jason, do you know the movie at all?
I do not.
It's been so many years. I got to see it again, but I may have to run because the family might be watching Survivor. It's a very healthy show to watch.
Get out! I'm glad you stopped by.
No, you're welcome.
So you couldn't do spring break because you were working.
I was working. I got lucky. A buddy said, "Do you want to come up and do a small part in this film? It's a ski movie." He's my buddy Shane Taylor, who runs Peerless Distillery, Peerless Bourbon out of Louisville, Kentucky. And I brought home a bottle of Peerless Bourbon. I went there to New Mexico for a week. I was a lot of time alone because I had a smaller part. I just popped in. I played a news anchor guy named Dick Mountain. So you can just imagine where that guy's going. A local sports weather guy. So that was fun. But I missed spring break. And, part of me is like, I miss those memories because we were going to go skiing again. And I love skiing with my kids. And that was the hard part. In this business, we're going to have to, as hard as it is to go on and organize those spring breaks, in the end, you got to love it. There'll be memories. There'll
be a handful of great photos. Do you want to take my spot for the week and you can leave with my
family? I've got a great disc. So let me see what I can do.
Rock and roll. Hey, speaking of whiskey, we're doing a dad sipping evening coming up soon in the next few weeks. So I'll hit you up about that.
I would love
to. Out there, we're gonna pick a whiskey and do a little whiskey tasting in here.
Carlos, do you have an Oculus?
Yes, I do have an Oculus.
We built a club in the metaverse. I built a fully functioning parents lounge, and we're gonna do an Oculus hang. You should come do it with us.
Maybe we'll do
my daughter's PC. My daughter's Oculus is hooked up to a giant PC, so I can go, get out of here. Daddy's got to go to a virtual bar.
That's going to be amazing. All right. Hey, listen, we're going to let you go. Hey, huge thanks to Billy Crystal and Carlos Alazraqui for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Talk
All
to you
right,
soon,
guys.
Lee. Bye,
Be
see you, man.
healthy.
Okay.
It's so funny.
I love when he drops by.
No, man. I know. He's so great. It is funny about spring break, too. It's because it's just so overwhelming. Like the money, everything's just so. I don't remember. Well, do you remember going to spring break when you were in your late teens or early 20s or something going on spring
Early
break?
20s I went. I didn't go till after I was out of high school.
Yeah. I remember during college, we went to Florida because I was BU. And one spring break we drove. It was my senior year in college. I played on the ultimate Frisbee team, the BU Ultimates. And so we 10 of us got in a van. We emptied out this white van, put a mattress in the back, stuffed 10 dudes and Frisbees in, and we drove down to do a tournament, 2 tournaments, one in Georgia and one in Florida. And it was just the most debaucherous, insane. But no, there's not a photo of it. Like, there's not one photo of it and I'm sure if I saw photos, I'd be like, oh, that looks horrifying. But at the time,
I would have been canceled 20 times over if any of the videos of that era existed.
It is kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't know if I would have been canceled, but we were just, drunken idiots, and there were 10 of us in a van. It was pretty crazy. And
well, you've drank with me. You've seen it. I go full Will Ferrell. It's not. I'm Frank the Tank all the time.
Frank the Tank. You would be naked, right? I do remember some nudity streaking around. I don't remember any cancelable phases, but I do remember like heading down and doing crazy tournaments and just sleep. Like we wake up and you're like, I'm on the beach. What's happening here?
I remember one year we went to Prime Hook, Delaware. It's like my family had a cabin there. And we went, and it's right off the beach. And there was the neighbors threw this enormous party. They were also there on spring break, and we threw like a combined just raging kegger. And I found a dead shark on like a small one on the thing. So I know that there are like old 4x6 printed at Rite Aid or drugstore photos of me with this shark that I'm carrying around for no reason that I have somewhere. But they're the only evidence. They're the only evidence that anything ever happened.
There's just no evidence, Your Honor. I don't recall. I just don't recall.
The statute of limitations is gone on most of the stuff at this point.
Here's the thing. I think that the human mind remembers things better than it was, right? Like whether it was girls you went out with or something. And somehow in my mind, everything is always a little better. So maybe it's best that there weren't photos. I don't know about kids today because they're so, kids will go like nowadays, they go, oh, I remember that when I was 1. And you're like, you don't remember that. You remember the photo I'm showing you of it, but you don't remember that day. Maybe this is spurring something where you're like, oh yeah, I remember being in the high chair that day. And nobody.
You don't remember. Yeah, you don't remember. Like what age do you start remembering? 4 or 5, probably, right? 5?
I don't, dude. For me, 34. I don't remember anything before 34. Every summer was spring break, says Maria. That's funny. She grew up in Florida. For spring break, you should have gone to like Maine or Vermont or something. Carlos is the voice acting king, Brandon. I'm glad you were here to get to see him. He's the best. So
you're going on a ski weekend?
We're going on a ski weekend. I do remember. Funny thing is about kids is that I just, they're all going to go boomer. You're like, but I do remember that era. There was something. There's just it's lost the danger, I guess, where you like, dude, you would lose your friends. There was no phone. Like you didn't have a phone. You couldn't text anyone. Like that's one of the jokes from my act is like, when I was a kid, if you went to a concert and you lost your friends, you made new friends because you had to have social skills. But nowadays, if you just lose anybody, you just go, dude, where are you guys? Look up, and they're there. And I think there was something that made us more self-reliant where there was no easy out. Like, oh my gosh, I thought I'd be lost. Like, I remember in spring break being lost from everybody for like a day and a half, maybe. Like we didn't
a day and a half,
something like insane. Like we went to go to the beach, but we got separated and everyone was gone. And I was like, what? Where is everybody? But there's no way to get a hold of it. No one has a phone. They're on a beach. So you would just all of a sudden some other group would go, hey man. And you go, hey, and you would just go and hang with other people. Do you remember that at all, or is that
I,
just me?
oh yeah, absolutely. Because the rest of your joke is then you had because people had social skills, and you had to have them because otherwise it was just you alone. You would end up alone, and
Nowadays, nobody needs that skill anymore because you go, I'm in trouble. I can fix this. Let me text somebody. I have a map. I can do whatever I need to do, get out of this location. Back in those days, wherever you were, man, you couldn't get out of it. And so if you got separated from everybody, you were on your own. Like you might leave a note back at the hotel, but if it's 9 a.m, everyone's gone for the day, or and it was spring break, some people didn't come back to the hotel. Some people were gone. They'd meet somebody and be gone, and then come back like 3 days later and go, "What happened?"
3 days later, yeah,
Ooh,
with
I
the
met
mega
this
walk
chick.
of shame.
Yeah, I met this chick where I got married. Like it would be crazy stuff that nowadays just doesn't happen because everything's so orchestrated.
Well, I saw it out there when we were just in LA, and I forget where we were at eating, but the whole table of teenagers, none of them were even talking to each other. They were all on the phone, and you would see them like text to each other, and then the other one next to them would laugh. And I was just thought that was such a bizarre thing. It was just such a weird thing that I don't know.
He goes, that's we wish we could go back to the 80s, early 2000s, even simple times, pre-tech explosion. Yeah, I guess. And what's funny is we're going to go in the metaverse and do a parent show. So we talked about this, and we're going to do a show where we bring everybody into the metaverse, and because we have a club built. Jason's built a club, and right now you can walk into the club in the metaverse, and it shows our shows. It's just shows running on a loop in there, and we're going to do a night where we all get a drink and we all go in there and hang out and kind of meet avatar to avatar. And I do think that's cool. What's funny is I think that the kids can go out. Like they don't have a reason that they have to be home, right? So they should. It's funny that they're the ones who are latching onto the social media. I think in the future, I think the young kids will rebel and they will go, because this is kind of the first generation that's dealt with this technology.
Right.
Kids will eventually why am I on this shit? I can go out and meet people. Whereas I can't go anywhere. My kids are downstairs. I don't have a babysitter. For me to slip up to my bedroom and put my Oculus on and then go out into the world makes way more sense than an 18-year-old out there.
Well, I mean, look at the struggle we had with Sitter. I mean, we had to get 2 groups of people to watch our twins while we went to California.
Yeah. And just to go out, I mean, you're already so much money into the night for doing it. So you're like, well, why don't I just, as a parent, you could go into the world and everybody could commune there and have like a parent drinking party where no one has to drive. Everyone's hanging out, talking and doing whatever.
I met Narcolepsy in our club. It was so cool to actually, number one, put a voice to the name, and we bullshitted for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Narcolepsy, what do you think about that? I mean, I do think the kids today, when they are parents, they are going to be in the metaverse. So I think this will take hold. I think our generation just doesn't know the metaverse enough to go into it. But the kids who are coming up in the metaverse, when they're parents, they're going to live in the metaverse, I think. And maybe the kids will rebel the same way kids of this era, dude, it's all about vinyl, man. If you don't hear it on vinyl, then you're
not really
hearing it. You can't hear the difference. It's pretty good on my iPad, on my iPhone. It's not a big deal. But I think the kids in that era will rebel because nowadays some of the kids are rebelling and they're getting flip phones, so they don't have all the technology.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah. Some of the celebrities are just carrying flip phones now. They're going back to flip phones. It's probably a kitschy. They'd probably have the other phone in their back pocket to go just in case I need to waze my way out of this place. Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of people who can't drive standard or read a paper map.
Dude, that's so funny. We had the Thomas guide when I first moved to LA, and you would be trying to get to an audition or something. You'd be like, wait, I would be flipping pages. Page 87 would then, if you flipped it would go to page 267. You're like, 260, what the? Trying to find your way around.
That's a good point. They may see social media as their parents' crap.
I totally agree with that, Narcolepsy, I do believe that kids will do. I mean, it's nature, right? Where they do stuff just to go, I'm not going to do it. If your dad was like if your dad's like Mick Jagger, you're like, dude, I'm not going to the Stones. That's not cool. Like everyone else on earth's like, dude, I want to go to the Stones.
Joey, to answer your question, you'll go into the App Store on the Oculus, and you will be downloading the Multiverse app.
And also, Joey, we're going to have all the directions put out, and we're going to put them up on the page. We'll probably do it. I'm gone next week, maybe the week after. We'll do it again. And I think, honestly, eventually, we'll have like a recurring weekly show in there. And honestly, for those of you who kind of came from the Dadlands with me during the pandemic, we had that Thursday night mental health meetup, which I do believe saved a few lives because they were dudes.
I miss those. Those were so much fun.
Yeah, who would come into the Thursday, and sometimes I'd have like Jimmy Schubert pop in and just do an hour set. And I think we're going to do that in the club in the metaverse.
We got to get Bill Engvall to strap on an Oculus.
Engvall has already said he will come in and he'll just do an hour set of stand-up, and we'll all just sit in the meta club and watch Bill, his avatar, do an hour. I know I'm ancient, but I kind of like it. I think it would be cool.
Well, it's so great because you can have an actual conversation. Like Narcolepsy and I stood around as if we were we stood in the giant Parents Lounge like Coliseum with the IMAX screen, and we just stood around bullshitting and as if we would have on the street. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be super cool, man. Well, let's talk about your trip out here because you came out and you had a big red carpet event on Friday, right? Talk about
I got dressed up and everything.
I know you guys did one of the podcasts when I wasn't here, but I think it's good for some of the people who maybe heard that podcast that they can get a follow up on what's happening with the whole thing, because you're telling me the story and I'm like, holy cow, dude, this sounds phenomenal.
Well, you actually got to hear the virtual me in person.
Oh, nobody else heard it?
Just little clips, but they got the older clips. You got like the newest.
Nobody in the show has heard it.
The older ones. So like the voices jumped even since. So the new voice, even since you've heard it, has gotten better.
Well, when you played it for me, it's you. It's you.
It's me.
You
for sure.
You could hear like one breath that caught me off guard. But aside from that, like it's almost like it's you, but you get an odd scare in the second where you're like, hey, and then you kind of came back. But it was the tone and everything is you. It's crazy.
I also noticed that it's starting to get my cadence down, like the way
to have those speed up and slow downs in the right spot where that person would, because we all definitely have our cadence to China. Everyone's got a cadences.
I wonder if it was just Jason's persona in VR. You'll never know. It was really me or him. So we had the big red carpet event. Some of you guys, watched in the launch with us. And now it's live. You're able to sign in and start building your persona or your virtual personality of you or your loved ones, so that if something, unforeseen happens, you can hold on to them.
Has anybody trademarked Versona?
They did.
Of course. That's such a good name, by the way. That's like, I always think about Pat Riley apparently trademarked 3-peat. Did you know that?
I didn't know he did.
Apparently he this is I don't know. Maybe it's the same with Richard Gere and Gerbils. I don't know. It's a myth, but they say Pat Riley trademarked 3-peat. So anytime any team makes T-shirts with like 3-peat on it, they got to pay Pat Riley, is what I've heard. But what do I know? Well,
it's like Michael Buffer with let's get ready to rumble.
He does. He trademarked that. Yeah. I think Larry. I want to say Larry has Get Her Done.
Oh, he must. It's on everything. Like I think even his beef jerky is named in that brand.
But I'll see like rando companies called like Get Her Done Exterminating or something, and I go, well, that's not Larry. Like people definitely absorb that thing. Yeah, that's funny.
So we shot a documentary with the You Only virtual team, and they also had a German film crew there that followed us around. Melissa and Jace got their first real tastes of LA, and they took us to. We shot some in Santa Monica Pier, and Jace, got to experience Santa Monica Pier for the first time, which he was all about the Ferris wheel out there.
It's the bomb. If you haven't been to it, it's a good one. It's very high and it's got an incredible view. Yeah,
the view is so crazy. I was like, it really was beautiful. But we had such a great time. It was a little hard because the twins weren't with us, and like that's the first time we've really been away from them. And
did they understand how you were leaving, or were they like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden you're gone, and they were like, because you had some communication with them, they were a little crazed that you were gone.
Yeah, and well, then today, like I even tried to just go to the grocery store after, and they're like, they wouldn't let me go. They didn't want us away from them at all. So it was hard because they're nonverbal, but Anthony was so excited to see me, and he called me daddy for one of the first times, and I got really emotional because like as you know, we were never supposed to get even that, and he did call me daddy. So, and he just hugged me so tight with his little Dark Lord arms.
I guess you need to leave more often. Maybe that's the therapy he needs, is you leaving like 1 week on, 1 week off.
Honestly, I mean, if it's for their well-being, shouldn't I make that sacrifice?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing it for the kids at this point, man. You should be going.
And we got to have a Parents Lounge family dinner with Mulligan and
our
the kids got to meet.
Yeah, the little ones met. And it was Jace's first flight, right?
It was Jace's first flight. He makes me laugh because in the video, if you watch it, he puts his arms in the air like he's riding a roller coaster. And he was so excited.
That's super funny. I told you that whole story. I have a long bit about, I was on a plane with a bunch of mentally challenged people, and when the wheels started to leave, all of them in sync, like they had planned, and went, "We're flying!" and held their hands over their head. And I got so caught up in the moment. I was like, "We are flying! We're flying!" I did it with them. And there is something to see, like, even I was flying back, and I was flying over like the California mountains coming down the coast from Sonoma. And I just looked down and I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, this is crazy, man. I'm flying like this giant plane somehow is in the air.
A very heavy metal object is hurtling through the air. Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
We totally take it for granted. Like nobody's ever like, is anybody else? This is kind of crazy.
Do you ever, as you're starting to take off, start to try and like figure out the physics of it in your head, and you're like, this shouldn't be working?
Sometimes I'll look at all the people and I go, I just do the math of the weight of just them, and then I add the luggage, and I'm like, how are we in the air? This is nuts. I know.
Oh, I had a terrible thing happen on the airplane.
Oh no.
So Jace was. I was in the front. Jace was behind me. I was carrying his booster seat because in California he's 7, so he still had to have it. And he was talking to me from behind me, and I wasn't watching. And the woman in front of me, what'd she say?
She said, she goes, I think about that all the time. And ships, like cruise ships. You ever I was in the Navy, and the math of having that thing not just topple over is pretty intense. I kind of studied that you have to put the point of buoyancy at a certain level. You think about the number of decks above the water and how that thing doesn't just go bloop over the side. Nuts. She's right. She's absolutely right.
So Jace was talking to me, and I was talking to him. I wasn't watching, and the woman in front of me stopped short, and the booster seat hit her in the caboose. And she turns around and she's like, "You are making me very uncomfortable." And I was like, "Ma'am, it was an accident. I was talking to my son. I don't care. You need to back off." And I was like, I didn't mean anything, but I didn't mean to do it. I wasn't even looking. And she was so nasty to me, like all the way up the aisle till finally she the cabooster seat. She finally left me alone, and then we saw her she was supposed to be on our second flight to the next thing, but she fell asleep. And as payback, I just didn't wake her up, and we left, and she did not get on the plane.
Karma is a bleeding.
Well, it was making me uncomfortable.
That's so funny. I was flying with the kids without the kids this weekend because I went for that thing, and I've talked about this before, but I used to have huge anxiety when I flew. I was always like, I don't know why. I just had that. I think a lot of people do, and that's why people drink in an airport at 6 a.m.
Sure.
It's like a Tuesday where you're like, and they justify it. Like if you saw anybody drinking anywhere on earth in a bar at 6 a.m., you'd be like, dude, you might need some help. In an airport, you're like, oh, got it. You need, like, people just need it to get on a plane. And I'm at the airport, and I couldn't be calmer. I was like, I kind of just took my time. I was walking around. It was so calming. Like, and then I saw a woman with a service animal, and all I could think was, you know how people say they need a service? I can't fly without like my dog or my cat.
Right.
Or my
Yeah.
We should take them away, take the animal away, and make them fly with 2 children. These 2 children are your responsibility for I'm going to cure you in one flight cross country. You have to fly with these 2 kids, get them safely to if you do that once, every time after that you fly alone is going to be the greatest day of your life. Like flying without kids is so magical. Like everyone's like, oh, you're going to the airport 3 hours early. I go, yeah, I'm just going to sit there. I'm just going to sit quietly in the airport. Might play on my phone. I might watch a show. I might have a drink. I don't know.
Wait, what did you watch? You watched when you were coming home from here? Didn't you watch the PGA Tour or something? Like it was.
Yeah. I have DirecTV on my phone, so I was watching the tour. Then I was watching the basketball game before I got on the plane.
This was the first time I'd flown with a child, so this was a whole new ball game for us.
And he's just one, and he was pretty well behaved. They get to an age where it's about the iPad, but before that, man, it is. I see people with kids. I help them out all the time, picking up their strollers and stuff. I'm like, I get it. I've been there. It's awful. It's awful. And here I thought you were going to say a stuffed cat containing a flask. Yes. By the way, how has nobody? There's got to be one. Somebody Google it. There has to be a stuffed animal that's a flask. There has to be. Someone's done this. Someone's already done this.
Hold on.
If you were traveling with your child and you had like a stuffed bear and you just got that through everything, and then you were like, unscrew the head to just drink while you were flying. Oh my God, that's a movie. That's a movie. That's funny.
Oh, it exists.
And Narcolepsy 27 it's his business. He's like, guys, I'm trying to
hold on. I have a picture of it. It's uploading now.
Maria says
it's called Boozy Bear.
Shut up. That is hilarious. Narcolepsy, can you believe that? And it was a hat, right? Go back. You pop it back up because it's top hat that's covering
the hat folds down and covers
folds over the top of it. Oh my God. Dude, I am gonna buy that as a gift to my friends who have kids now. That would be the greatest gift to give to somebody.
How would that work at airport security? Well, I guess you could fill it once you got through.
Oh, you can't go through an airport. No, I'm talking about going to the park.
Yep.
Basically anywhere with the kids.
Anywhere with kids. Yeah. Oh man, a soccer game would be a much more enjoyable experience.
8 a.m. soccer game. Spring song festival that I went to. Yeah, that would have been gold, man.
You and Pete Holney, while you're hosting, are taking chugs out of a bear.
I just talked to him 2 hours ago. He's come back on the show too. He's He's
such a good guy.
Springsteen, and he was Steven Seagal. He did a lot of voices for us. It was super fun, but yeah.
What are you guys doing for Easter?
So, oh my God, that's what I was going to talk about tonight. I can't talk too loudly, and this will be our last thing because I got to wrap because I don't know. My wife's on the road and I have the 2 kids. We're going to be in Colorado for Easter. So they've already asked. They're like, is the Easter Bunny going to Colorado or is he coming here? And so it's kind of been, they're going to both. So I have to preset. What's happening here at the house before I go to Colorado. I'm glad you remember.
So you're gonna have to leave after them.
Yeah, I've done it before where I went back in the house to set the alarm.
Oh, okay. And then what's the logic behind two bunnies? Or are they separate bunnies? It's just a regional thing? How does this work?
I had to make sure everybody was not sneaking outside that door.
Of course.
No, it's just they go everywhere. He's everywhere. I don't know. I can't do the math of it. Like the same way I don't know how an airplane really flies, but I can. So in the same vein, but that'll be for our next show. I will tell everyone how it went and what we have. Because next time I'll do it in the sound booth because I won't have the kids by myself. Florida for Easter for us. So now I have to pack all the Easter basket stuff to take there. It wasn't the original plan, but so my wife had stuff shipped there to the in-laws' house, candy and such. So we're doing that.
Oh, okay. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it because I have to work as the bunny himself for the next couple of days as a mascot guy.
Yeah, when Carl Nelson says, "Yeah, you won't look weird sucking on a stuffed bear's head." Go back. No. You know what they should do? Here's what they got to do. They got to do a Yeah, you got to put the opening lower so that you can kind of
just too low.
Well, be really funny if it was really low and you just held you had to hold the bear onto your face like this, and then somebody sees you and you're holding a bear to your face going, and everyone's like, "Dude, what are you doing to that bear, man?"
You could even make one as the alien face hugger from Aliens.
Oh no, that's the best. Dude, Google it. Is that a thing? That's got to be.
Let me see. Alien face hugger flask.
They should have had masks like that during COVID. They
did.
Did they?
Yep.
That's the goal. Things on your face that you can wear as a flask. All right, that's for the next show too, and we'll cover Easter on the next show because I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to get through this thing, but I might have to do some research to. There's nothing like we did it on Christmas one time where we had that was painful. We had to the elf.
Oh yeah.
Moving. I went to I had to go to I left. I forget. I ran up to the room in the hotel first to put it in before I went into the room.
So the elf was just there.
Yeah.
Good. You're such a good.
That was a lot of work. By the way. It's never going to be remembered. It was wasted time. It's really
and you're confined because in a hotel room you don't have as much, house to.
So you'd have to, and they're sleeping in the same basically room, and they are the queens. So you'd have to sit and wait and like stay up until they were asleep.
And isn't Hannah like a sneaky sleeper?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the sneakiest of all. That's why I keep looking over because I feel like she's sneaking up the stairs at the door. Hannah, you're in trouble. It's not there. All right, listen, we got to wrap. It's 8:03.
Yes, absolutely.
Spring break starts tomorrow. This was super fun, dude. I haven't been on in a few weeks, and so it was great to be back. We are narcolepsy. This is great. We got to start. We got to get the directions out for everyone to.
Yep, I can do that once we have a date.
Because here's what can happen: people can go check out the space when they're in. Because some people are in the metaverse anyway, and so they'll just stop by for lunch to the club, and you can watch some of the show and just check it out. And that way, when we all do this event, which is going to be a more recurring thing, so the sooner you figure it out, the sooner you can start coming in. And I think it's going to be a really fun kind of mental health hang because it's the last time we did it, we got a bunch of people, and it was super crazy and fun, and just everyone kind of catching up. Maria, we love you. Thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to say.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And also the designs for flasks, the best. We like anything you can wear in your head that would then go down somehow into your mouth to get the alcohol in. I think would be the trick.
I can't wait. This is gonna be super fun.
It's gonna be super fun. All right, listen. Thank you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, like. If this is iTunes, definitely write a review. And subscribe and like, and the same with everything else. All of our socials. So come find us and check out our merch somewhere. Teespring, I believe. So,
Yeah, the parentslounge.tv, and it'll take you right there.
that's right. And that's it. We love you all. Kate Mulligan got buried in children tonight. She'll be back next week.
She'll be back next week.
Yeah, she'll be back. And that's it. We'll see you next week in the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.